Hi fam, welcome back. Another episode, Destination Fitness with Carlos. I'm back here in Sydney, Australia. As you can see behind me, a little bit cloudy in our winter. Just come from beautiful Thailand, as you've seen in the previous episode that I put up. This will probably be my last shoot or last episode that I do from here in Sydney. But we'll see what happens with that. But I'll give you some more information as we move forward. And probably the last episode from the Sky House. So again, I'll give you some more information about that moving forward. But today, guys, the episode that I'm going to bring to you is doing a workout with an injury. And I'm going to focus on the shoulders because I've had shoulder injury recently. And what you're going to find, guys, a lot of the times when you've got an injury, especially in an area like the shoulders, muscular injuries, it's very hard to work out. And when you stop working out, you can lose the momentum that you build up. So what you want to make sure is that you can continue to work out, continue to look after yourself, but do it in a smart way. Don't overdo it so you don't re-injure yourself and you don't want to aggravate your injury that you have. Now, I'm focusing on the shoulders because I have got a little shoulder issue which I've had for a few months now actually, but I continue to work out and do my shoulders. So what I want to show you today, guys, is a few workouts that you can do on shoulders if you've got an injury, and working smart as well. So here we go, we're going to put this episode together and I'm going to talk you through this a little bit as well. Okay fam, so like I said, I have had a little shoulder issue for quite some time now. And the biggest thing with shoulders is, shoulders is an area where people like to work out. It looks really good especially when you're doing at the gym and you're doing weights and you're trying to get big and things like that. Shoulders always look great if you actually got good size on them. The only issue with your shoulders is there's a lot of really small muscles in that area. So it's really, really easy to tear muscles and actually it takes a really long time to recover from it because they're such small little muscles that sometimes any other exercises that you do, whether it be back, chest, your push and pull exercises where you've got to engage your shoulders, you just re-tear those little muscles again. And because they're not huge muscles, it's not something that you are incapable of doing anything or makes you immobile, but it does cut down your mobility. So even little things like sometimes putting on your seatbelt in the car, picking up things, putting your shirt on, little things like that, you tear those small muscles and it can be really, really difficult to do little activities like that. So it's an area where you've got to be really, really careful. Obviously when people want to go big and they want to get, bodybuilders and all this sort of thing, they go for the big shoulders, they go really heavy on the weights. Obviously there's a lot of other stuff going on that we all know, as well as working out and going heavy with all the stuff they take as well. But to get bigger shoulders, you've got to go heavier. And when people go heavier, especially if you're doing naturally, very easy to tear muscles. And if you do something like a rotator cuff, oh my God, that can take months, if not years to recover from, sometimes even surgery. So you've got to be really, really careful. Now what I've got showing you today is really exercises where you can still work out on your shoulders, keep it strong, keep your muscles intact, keep your muscles in good condition without overdoing it, using light weights but working smart and doing good technique. So I'm going to bring those to you now. We'll start off the episode. I'll show you the first exercise, and this is really a warm-up, but it's also an exercise. If you've got rehab and you've had this shoulder injury, a lot of doctors, physios, etc. will give you these little exercises to do as part of your rehab. But you can do this to warm up, just to loosen up those shoulders and just to open up those joints a little bit, just to get a little bit of feel going into your shoulders, warming up before you do your proper workout. So first off, we're going to go for a little warm up. So these are the exercises I'm going to do for that. Right fam, now this exercise is your bent over raises. Now what happens with this, I really like this exercise. I've been doing it a lot more recently, but doing it properly. So what you want to do is you actually get the dumbbells I use a bench because what I find when I use the bench and I bend forward about a 45-degree angle, I find that when I bring the weights up or the dumbbells up, I'm really just using my shoulders, especially my traps and your delts, to really actually lift that weight. Now, it's not a heavy weight. Remember, this is coming back from an injury, so you're not going heavy. But what happens is when you actually squeeze as you come up, you really feel that in your actual shoulders. So that's the whole thing that you're wanting to do here. You're wanting to make sure that you feel it in your shoulders. And remember, we're not going heavy, but we're trying to do it properly. So as you bring it up and you really squeeze at the top and you squeeze your shoulder blades, you'll really feel it in your shoulders. So this is a great little exercise. Obviously, if you're not injured and you're wanting to go a lot bigger, a lot heavier, you can do that. And this is also a great exercise when you want to build some big shoulders, especially, like I said, your deltoids and everything else. This looks really a really great exercise to help build that. And the good thing is, because you use the bench, you sort of got a good position to bring it up. So you're not really putting your back in a bad position. Even though you bent over forward with about 45-degree angle, when you bring that up, those dumbbells straight to the side, what you find is you bring it up in a natural position. And what happens is when you really squeeze, you really feel that in the shoulders. So give this one a go. Remember, I'm going light because this is about working out from an injury. But if you want to go heavy, you can go heavy, guys, and see how this works. Okay fam, now this time we're going to actually be using the machines. You'll find this machine in most gyms, and it's for the lateral raises. So basically what you want to do with this exercise is try and keep your head and shoulders back up straight, and this is something you should be doing all the time anyway, but try to keep your head really focused and up straight and your shoulders up, and you're really just bringing it up using the machine. And the good thing that I like about the machine is that it helps you keep your back really straight, and you really concentrate on just using your shoulders to bring up the weight. And what you find is that appearance that a lot of people like on the side of their shoulders, what they call the lateral head, this machine really helps with that. So you can really, you can go light on this, but do high reps, and you'll feel a good burn as well. So try this machine, guys. Like I said, coming from an injury point of view, this is great because you can go sort of light, but you can do quite a number of reps. So it's completely up to you how you do this one. I tend to like going a little bit heavier, but just doing a few reps. But I try to sometimes mix it up. One week or one session, I'll do a little bit heavier and I'll go only about 10 reps or so. And then other days I'll actually go light and I'll go for like a minute sometimes even. And I'll tell you what, you get a great burn, but really lightweight, so you're not going to have too much of an injury, and you really see it pop as well. So try this one, guys. And like I said, this is the lateral, lateral machine, and this is great for the shoulder as well. Back on the dumbbells. So this one here is called the Arnie press, and Arnie, after Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I'm pretty sure he made this famous. I don't know the history of it, but it's called the Arnie press. And the reason why this is quite good, excuse the noise, that's a car going past. The reason why this exercise is quite good because it actually hits all three of the heads of the shoulders, the front, side and back. So because of the motion, you're actually turning up and turning down, and when you actually do it, especially on a lightweight, you actually really feel it. Yeah, you feel the whole motion. So what happens is, normally when you're doing shoulders, like we're isolating some of the other exercises, but this one you're using all three parts of that shoulder. So you're using that whole shoulder area to really push it up and really work those shoulders properly. And like I said, the Arnie press, named after Arnold Schwarzenegger, he made it famous. And obviously you want shoulders like him, you need to go a lot heavier than what we're doing here. But coming from an injury background, I think this is great, especially when you do go light, because again, you're working your whole shoulder without risking the aggravation of an injury. So you can really work out, you can keep your muscles intact, keep it toned just by doing this. And again, guys, remember, this whole episode is from an injury background, but if you don't want to do it in terms of light, go heavier, and you'll really feel that on your shoulders as well. But the only thing is, if you go heavy, just be wary, be careful, because with that motion itself, you've got to work the whole shoulders, so you really got to control and do it properly. So just be careful, starts light up and build up as you go along. Try this one out, guys, it's a good exercise. Okay fam, so now we're back on the lateral raise again. So this time we're going to use the dumbbells, but in a standing position to do the lateral raise. This is a lot more traditional, what you'll see at the gyms when you go. You see people doing lateral raises, normally standing with dumbbells. And what I tend to do, and when I've actually done these differently, instead of using the side lateral raise directly to your side, try to keep your arms slightly bent and bring them a little bit forward as you go up. And what I find is when you try to bring them a bit forward, you actually feel it a little bit more. Sometimes when you just go up to the side, you're not getting that range of motion as you would if you just go forward a little bit. And from what I understand, from what I've seen from working the two different ways, going forward you tend to work a better area of the shoulder itself. And the big thing with the shoulders and why lateral raises and a lot of motions in this direction are popular is because what you're looking for in the shoulders a lot of time, there's two things, is up here, which obviously your delts, and then your shoulders is that shape on the side. So what it looks like from the front, they want to see that pop here, and then from the side when you see that muscle pop in there. And again, these side lateral raises are really what helps with that. So give this one a go, guys. Again, you'll see this a lot of times. And remember, we're coming from an injury background. So when you do this, I'm doing it light at the moment. Two ways you can do it. Higher reps. Again, you'll really feel it. But if you want to go a little bit heavier, again with this one, you shouldn't really be going too heavy, because what happens when you're raising up to the side like this, remember, it's not, you're not going, you're actually pushing against the natural direction of where your arms will be going, especially with the weight. You're not really pushing up, you're usually going down. So you don't want to go too heavy, because that's where you could get an injury if you go too heavy. Obviously, depending on your size, your weight, and one of the big guys, what they're taking, they might be able to go a little bit heavier, but you want to be a little bit careful with this one. You don't want to go too heavy. But again, come from that injury background, going light, this is great. It'll help really tone and strengthen that shoulder as well, and give it a good look as well. So give this one. Okay fam, so still concentrating on the shoulders. Now what we're going to do is move on to the cable machine and do the front raises. Now what you'll notice with everything I'm doing here, I haven't done any actual presses. Apart from the Arnie press, I haven't done any heavy presses itself. And that's because of the injury which I've got, and which a lot of people, when you get a shoulder injury, the press is the position where you get uncomfortable and you feel the little pinches which are really sharp and really hurt, and you can't push at all. So that's what I've got at the moment. So what I'm doing is a lot of these other exercises to compensate for that, but still so I can work all those different areas of the shoulder. So the front raises, of course, are going to work that front part of the shoulder here, which when you're working out your chest, you tend to work that a little bit as well. But when you're isolating that front part of the shoulder, again, you don't want to go too heavy. So I'm on the cables at the moment, not going overly heavy. You can push a little bit on this one, but again, you'll find small little muscles here in this area. So don't just go straight on and go heavy, because if you do and you pull these little muscles there, trust me, it takes a long time to recover from it and heal. So you don't want to actually stop doing shoulders completely. So keep doing these, and again, this will give a nice shape, a nice look to your shoulders, and you'll feel it as well. Again, you want to keep your head up nice and straight, body nice and straight, and just make sure it's just your shoulders that's lifting that weight stack that you've got on the cable machine. So see how this one goes, guys. Again, great little exercise, get the front of the shoulders. You've done a lot of lateral or side areas. Now you're doing the front part. Give this a go. Okay fam, so we're nearly done with the shoulder workout. So this is the cable crossover flies. Now with this one, what I tend to do is I tend to actually lean forward, similar to the very first exercise we did with the dumbbell, when you're leaving the dumbbell lateral raises, when you're leaning forward about 45 degrees. I tend to do a similar sort of thing with the cable crossover, but you go extremely light on this. What I'm trying to do, because it's the rotator cuff that you actually using a lot in this particular exercise, and you don't want to damage that. But when you actually use the light weight, you really get a good workout on that, you really get a good burn. But what you want to also do is make sure you keep your back nice and steady and strong, good core, to actually keep your body in a good position, but a nice strong position as well. So again, a lot of these exercises, when you do a lot of those lateral raises and those crossovers and things like that, you will engage a little bit at your back as well. When I say back, the upper half should be. But of course, when you're leaning in a certain direction, you've got to really keep your core strong, because your lower back, you've got to be wary of it. So with this one, again, you're talking about shoulder injuries here, but be careful of your back on this one. That's why you don't want to go too heavy. You want to keep your legs slightly bent, and just keep that core nice and strong, and then just pull it up, nice and light, easy weight, but you will feel it. Again, you're using probably the smallest areas of the smallest muscles, I should say, in your shoulders for this one, and also the rotator cuff and that kind of area. You've got to be very careful. But the good thing is, if you do it properly and do it light, you should avoid injury. But you just got to keep your positioning right and your core nice and strong. So give this one a go, guys, and we're nearly done. Fam, the last exercise that we're going to finish on for the shoulders, coming from an injury perspective, is your shoulder shrugs. Now, what we've done mainly today, if you look at the shoulder workout, concentrated mainly on those three heads of the shoulders, front, back and side. But obviously the traps, you actually get those in some of those in delts as well, in some of the exercises we've been doing. But this one, you're really focusing pretty much mainly on the trapezius itself. And again, that's very important, because when you're doing your shoulder workout, even though you're coming from an injured background like I am for this particular episode, what you want to make sure is that you're actually not just doing your shoulders, which appear here, but you also want to get the upper half, and just around the back of the neck, still part of your shoulder. So you want to get those traps work out as well. So this will really work that area out. With this one, what I find, even from an injury perspective, you can go a little bit heavy on this, because you're really just going up and down and shrugging the shoulders, hence shoulder shrugs. But what you'll find is more of a burn that you tend to get on this, because you're not lifting as such, you're just going up and down and up and down. And when you start getting that burn, you want to keep going until you actually, so almost to fatigue, if you want to call it that. But basically, this is a great exercise for those traps, because obviously you want to get all the shape. You want to get this part and this part as well, which looks great from a head-on perspective when people are looking at you. And remember, we're still doing this from an injury perspective, but the good thing about this particular exercise is probably the one where you'll least get, or will least affect your injury, I should say, or aggravate your injury, because again, man, you just go up and down. You don't want to sort of roll your shoulders in a circular motion, just up and down. There was a time, especially when I first started working out with weights, I used to do the rolling motion. It's not a bad thing, but it's not the best, especially if you're looking at the trapezius, and also with certain areas that you might injure or potentially injure. if you do roll your shoulders. So just keep it up and down, and you'll feel it, and you'll feel it right here. And it's a great burn, it's a great feeling as well, because you don't really work those as much as you do the head to the shoulders with all those other exercises we did. And that's it, guys. That's the last exercise that we're going to do, and then we'll finish on that. So give this one a go, and then we'll conclude. Okay fam, thanks for joining me on this episode, 30-minute blitz with Carlos Alize. Destination fitness with Carlos. Destination is the main word here, because moving forward, there is going to be a few changes. Well, the changes won't be in terms of the content, but in terms of the way that I'm going to present to you. But we'll keep that, I'll bring more information on that as we go along. But as I said, this will probably be the last episode from here at the Sky House. There might be one more, but we'll see what happens with that, but it was most likely the last one. But like I said, it'll be very exciting for the next episodes that are going to come up. But again, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Coming from an injury perspective, a lot of times when people do a lot of the workouts and everything else, they don't do much in terms of people who come from an injury perspective, or if you have injured yourself. So these are really good. I mean, I'm not a physio or anything like that. However, I have had injuries, and I can speak from experience in terms of that you can still work out if you're smart. So it's all about working out smart. So this channel, that's all it's about. It's not a bodybuilding channel. It's all about keeping in shape, keeping active, keeping fit, but doing it in a smart way where you make the most of your workout, good intensity in a short period of time, and then you've got the rest of the days, whether it be the day after or the day that you're doing your workout, or the rest of your week, to enjoy yourself and do whatever you want to do, but you keep active for at least 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day in some way or other. But again, guys, next episodes will be focused a lot more on the destinations, which will be fitting in the exercises and things you can do while you're away. But again, they'll come, and you'll see a lot more of that moving forward. But anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing you next time. Keep fit, keep active, take care of yourself.